Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. In this video, I'll be sharing two demos where I'm working with an intuitive abstract painting prompt called layered bands. And this is one of those exercises that's especially helpful if you want your abstract paintings to feel more connected, more intentional, and less overworked. By stacking and layering simple bands of color, we start to see how rhythm, depth, and structure can develop naturally without forcing a focal point or planning everything out ahead of time. So here's the prompt. We have 20 minutes to paint. For colors, we're using Payne's gray, yellow ochre, phthalo green, plus as always, we can use black and white. And the goal is to stack and layer bands of color to create gentle rhythm and depth. Right after going over a prompt like this, I always want to say this. These aren't about getting a perfect finished painting. They're a jumping off point. But they're also about paying attention and reacting. If prompts like this are helpful for you, I'll leave a link in the description for my 50 abstract warm-up painting prompts download. It's a great way to explore ideas without overthinking. Before we jump in, I also want to say a quick thank you to Steve for his recent super thanks donation. I really appreciate the support, and it helps me keep making these videos and sharing these exercises. Going into the first demo, I honestly wasn't sure how these colors were going to work together, but I really do like how they ended up playing off of each other. I started by laying down a base layer of phthalo green and Payne's gray just to knock back the white and set a cool foundation. And then from there, I added a much more chaotic second layer using yellow ochre and phthalo green and titanium white and really a variety of mixes of those paints. I added some marks with a color shaper, sprayed water into the wet paint and wiped it back for a simple water resist technique, which creates those darker spotted areas. And I also added random scribbles with a black Sharpie gel pen and some black paint splatter. All of that is really just about building visual texture rather than defining form. So here I am putting those black splatters down. And at one point I started doing drips with Payne's gray and water, but I realized I didn't have much time to let them dry properly, so I wiped them away. And that decision really matters. Knowing when something won't serve the painting right now is just as important as knowing what to add. And once that surface felt active enough, I used a black fountain pen to quickly sketch out these kind of tuber-shaped bands, similar but not identical. And this fountain pen, the ink in here, if you're ever using these, just keep in mind that if you're painting over that ink will bleed quite a bit from a fountain pen. So if you don't want that to bleed, I would spray a fixative over, a workable fixative over. But since I'm using black paint to kind of fill in this negative shape, those black ink lines really didn't matter if they bled or not because I had the black paint kind of going over it somewhat. And that, this black paint really helps the shapes kind of jump forward. This exercise, I think, works so well because repetition immediately creates connection. When similar shapes show up again and again, the painting starts to feel cohesive almost right away. And what makes it interesting is variation, differences in width and shape and spacing and opacity and edge quality. That's really what helps turn repetition into rhythm. That rhythm guides the eye without needing a focal point or really a subject. And this prompt also simplifies decision making. Instead of asking, what should I paint next, we're responding to what's already there. Each band becomes a reaction, not a plan. And that keeps the process intuitive and flexible. So I'm also working with a fine liner drawing pen, and that ink doesn't bleed quite as much as the fountain pen. And I'm just kind of going through and reestablishing some of those border areas and filling in little areas of that I didn't hit with a black paint since my brush was a little bit bigger. So you can see there's the 20-minute mark. And after the 20 minutes were up, I liked where it was headed, so I kept going. That's kind of the fun thing about prompts. Sometimes we feel that what we're creating is going somewhere. So we have the option to keep following and to continue painting. Prompts are a great jumping off point, but they're ours to make them and do with them what we will. So if we want to change things up, or add time or subtract time, change the colors, add colors, keep working it, and doing different things other than what the prompt guidelines say, do it. That's what they're there for. They're there for us to really jump into something right away. So definitely don't feel restricted by a prompt and what the guidelines are. So I mainly used Payne's gray and charcoal to work into the form and shading of the bands, giving them a little more volume and weight. This version of this, or I should say this prompt, this painting that I'm doing right now from the prompt, definitely leans more sculptural and grounded. And then I realized that I didn't cover up part of the the area, the negative space that I needed to create there. So I went back and started filling that in. At the end of the video, I'll show both finished paintings in a few different orientations. I'll also show some close-ups of each so you can see the surface and layering up close. And I'll also show another version that I did with this prompt. It was actually the first version I did, and enjoyed doing that, so decided to do a couple more. And that one leans a bit more into mixed media. I laid down some collage paper before I started painting, and just to give a little texture to some of the bands in that. So I'll show you those as well. And here I'm just using some charcoal and a paper blending stump to add a little bit of shading at the bottom of each of those shapes, each of those bands, to create a little bit more form with each of these. And they definitely kind of have that sweet potato shape to them. Didn't realize that as I was painting this, but looking at this now, I definitely can see that. Charcoal is such a versatile tool when it comes to shading and creating form, because it just is very easy to work with. But you do have to spray a fixative over top of that to move on without it smudging. So I'll show you the second demo here. In this one, I started with random marks from a fountain pen. And then I laid down Phthalo Green, Payne's gray, and yellow ochre in a similar layered way as the first. And this time I'm going to introduce delicate surface frog tape. It's this yellow tape. I'm sure some of you have heard of it and probably have it. And this part is really important. I applied the tape only after the paint was fully dry. If you put tape on wet paint, even this delicate surface frog tape, it will pull the paint up, especially with acrylics. I also wouldn't recommend regular blue painter's tape for this. I have tried that before, and even when the paint is dry, a lot of times it will pull that paint up. So here I'm doing the water resist technique where I'm spraying some water down. I'm just drying the paint around it with a hair dryer, and then putting a paper towel down and kind of pulling that off, pulling some of that water off, which reveals some of those the layers below the paint that I sprayed the water on. It's a great technique. I use it quite a bit. And then I'm just using a palette knife to try and scratch into some areas, even though the paint's dry. Just want to, anywhere I can, add a little bit more interest into this. And here's that yellow frog tape. And I basically, off camera, I used a scalpel or X-Acto knife to cut irregular, kind of more organic bands into the tape and applied that to the surface, just to give kind of a variety of shapes there. And one other thing with tape, when you're using that, the frog tape on a painting, or even the blue painter's tape, when you're removing the tape, it really helps to gently heat it first. I usually take a hair dryer, blow dryer, and warm up the tape a little bit. That loosens the adhesive and makes removal much cleaner. You don't pull any paper up with it. You typically don't pull any paint up with it. Again, dry paint. I painted over the tape to create the negative space, and then I removed it to reveal the bands. And in this version, I chose not to work into the form. I like the flatter kind of graphic quality and decided to leave it alone. And that decision, knowing when not to add more, is a huge part of what this prompt teaches. As you watch this develop, and as you watch your paintings develop, notice how the bands begin to feel either stacked or drifting. Harder edges tend to feel more structural and grounded, while softer edges suggest movement and flow. And a darker negative space can push the forms forward and give them more weight, whereas lighter layers allow them to float and feel more atmospheric. And you don't necessarily need to decide, which one you want. Just noticing when the painting starts to lean one way or the other. And both of the versions I have, the edges are pretty sharp and hard. So I did use a variety of negative space, as far as lighter on this one and darker on the last one, just to show kind of a difference. And I have a little bit of dark at the bottom there too. But what layered bands really teaches us is awareness. We start to see rhythm everywhere. We get better at recognizing when repetition is working and when variation is needed. We learn how negative space can define form just as much as paint. So here are some of the close-ups of the first painting, and I'll show you some the final version in different orientations here, and I'll show you the second and third here coming up. And most importantly, we get more comfortable stopping. When structure is already there, we don't feel the need to keep filling the surface. That mindset carries into every painting we make. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. And as always, if you have any questions or feedback, I'd love for you to leave a comment. All the paints and materials I used are listed in the description below. So here's the second one of different orientations, and I'll show you some close-ups of the other painting that I did not show the demo for. And here's some close-ups of that one. And you can see that I used some paper underneath, some collage paper here. But I really enjoyed this prompt. I liked doing all three of these paintings. They're all a little different, but I think if you look at them, you can tell they're the same prompt probably. So here's the other one in different orientations. So thanks again for Steve for the super thanks donation. Thanks for watching, and keep on painting.